Boys, come in, everyone. This guy right here.
Test?
What?
Boys?
What?
I can't even freaking hear myself.
I hear you.
What the hell is this?
Look at this loser. What? What?
Hit me. What?
Boys, come. Wait, am I even streaming? Boys, come join me in this rabbit hole that I have ready to present to y'all. This leaker just really came back out of nowhere. Okay, so first off, already off to a great start. The chat isn't showing up on the screen. We're effed. We're gonna have to do this the classic way. Listen, we're gonna cover some ground, okay? If this stuff, which it seems completely real, if this stuff is real, this is crazy. Bro, it's not gonna be weeks late. Yeah, for once, boys, the stuff we're covering today is fresh off the boat. They just got here. This is gonna be crazy. The first time, I feel so relevant. Not relevant, I mean relevant isn't with the times.
You're looking fresh, my boy.
Are you my father, Green Man? So allow me to present to you the story of what's happening in the boring world of Pokemon. You know, whatever's fun. But this isn't boring. I'm just saying, Pokemon, you suck. So, the leaker appeared October 12th, 10/12, right? Then he disappeared. Then he like reappeared November 15. On the 2-month anniversary of November 15, because this is a thing now, he came back, which is January 15. That's what we're gonna look at, boys. That's the story. Boy, bro talking about him like Jesus. Yo, you never, I'm not gonna say it. Masada must hire you. Yo, apparently he was paying attention, or she. They're like, oh, 2-month anniversary, let's come back. So they left a teaser for what they came back for. Teacher evolved out of his diaper and is now Speed. Bro, the icon was freaking... You can't... If you don't see it, it's good. Because once you see it, it's like... Nintendo security is sick. The leaker will make me leak. I'm unsure exactly what I was talking about now. Boys, can we just cover? Yeah, I'm gonna show the leaks. I'm introducing him. So when the dude came back, first off, the childishness began, right? He said, F Central, Ku is a huge jerk. But along with this, he apparently leaked something that he teased 2 months earlier, which is that he wanted to drop the source code for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
He was telling the truth though, Kangal.
Okay, Indian Rita, but listen. How do you know he's telling the truth? I'm not denying it. I don't know which of the 3 legendary leakers is the dorkiest.
Been watching you since way before Sun and Moon Sivapunira Idayam.
That always throws me off. Dude, how does that happen? We're gonna keep up with it this time. So that's what apparently he leaked this time. So listen very carefully. The reason he didn't want to leak it 2 months earlier is he said he didn't know if potentially Gamefreak wanted to have future updates for Scarlet and Violet, which they did want to, right? It goes as little as the Terra Raid battles, but then as high as this fabled M-related mythical Pokemon that Ku's been teasing. No matter how you read his riddles, that's what he was teasing. So now that he's leaked the source code,
you're ready for these leaks, my boy?
I don't know. I've briefly seen it, but I didn't look properly because I have to find it, of course, right? So we're gonna get my reaction as well. So pretty much he leaked the source code for Scarlet and Violet, and what you can see is some of the beta fragments. So that's what we're gonna look at. So the source I found is my boy here. Why is it Indian? Why is who Indian? You mean the dude talking to you in the top left of the screen? Do the leak coverage with Big Man Masada? No, it's not Big Man Masada. It's the Big Moss. Don't make me freaking play the song. I have the song. Mr. Cheese. Are you guys okay? So first off, this man wasn't on Twitter. I had to find him on Blue Sky. I don't know if this was a linear rabbit hole to follow, but it took me forever to figure this out. So he's on Blue Sky. He reverse engineered, is what he says in his bio. He looked closely at both the Scarlet and Violet source and the Pokemon Home source. And these are the craps he saw. Now, we can't read it because we're stupid. I mean, can you read it? Explain it to me. First interesting thing I spotted, a commented out unit test asserting, why would he use these words? That you can evolve into Overquill or Wordier using Powerful Stone or Technical Stone respectively. So this is something tame. It's a remnant, which is what it shows what's cool that you could find in the source code of stuff like this. A different evolution method for these Legends Arceus Pokemon, Overdeer and Wordier. But it says the items were added for testing purposes. Okay, well, that makes sense. So it's an admin item. It's an item for them to cheat in to just test if their evolution method is working. So that's not actually meant for us, it would seem like. But it keeps going. It keeps going. I scrolled down a bit and saw something and I had to start the stream. What the hell? Proof of head? What type of document is this? Iwai no Yoro. Okay, so it's just a bunch of items. And then you can see Powerful Stone and Technical Stone there at the bottom. So if you scroll down, these stone names appear to be referencing the strong and agile style that are used to evolve them in Legends Arceus. So maybe they're coming up with an admin or a releasable item that like condenses the basics about agile and strong, and you can use it like an evolutionary stone. Maybe like some professor in the game would have like invented it. Pause no diddy? Isn't that a double pause? What happens if you double? Okay, so but this makes it sound more like an admin item, because if you were to make an admin item, it would almost have no name or anything. But here they made two and made it appropriate for Pokemon. So I want to believe they were trying to plan some, and it makes sense because, listen, Legends Arceus is 150 years ago. You would imagine people came up with like some evolution stone to redo what people could do back then. But just, you know, it's not something popular, so the Pokemon are generally lost. This is when it gets crazy, boys. Paradox Pokemon. We get to see their beta framework with Paradox Pokemon. This is what I saw a glimpse of. And wait, what even is this? What even did I see, boys? So this is it. In December 2021, so a whole year before Scarlet and Violet came out, the following Pokemon descriptions were changed. So they had these placeholders for several Pokemon / Paradox Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet. On December 2021, these placeholders were changed / finalized, you could say. So look at what the placeholders were. The first one is just AAAA, totally believable. That's exactly how I would name my files too, right? So maybe Salamence could be one of the early ones they tested that they just spammed and had a placeholder name like that. But look at the second one. Oh, so that's what became past Salamence. The second one says there was a future Bouffalant instead of future Donphan. And tell me, boys, now, the Donphan is actually cool, so it's hard to compare which one is better. But tell me that would not have been cool. Does it really hit the same? I don't know if it was diminishing returns for Donphan and Volcarona, if it was really appreciable to just give them a second. I think it just kind of goes over our head fast. It kind of would have been cooler if they all had counterparts. So Volcarona and Donphan also had counterparts. I think I would say Iron Moth. Listen, I know some of you love it. Forgive me, okay? But replace Iron Moth, and then I guess replace Future Donphan. Yeah, the Future Donphan's not too bad. It's just the face that's ugly. But those two are totally replaceable. Then the counterpart to past Salamence for Pokemon Violet, they just...
Yo TTAR, I love you, bro.
Is that Rito or you? Listen, I appreciate it, bro. The counterpart, 5 characters, again, it's just be spammed, is future... Wait, future Galdevoir? Gal? Future Galdevoir. I'm scared. I don't want to know the notes behind any of this. But that became Iron Valiant. What is this? Semi-legendary 1 Vessel? Semi-legendary 2 Sword. Okay, so these were what became the Ruinous Pokemon. They had it so they had it planned so basic that in their whiteboard they just had it written that we need a legendary trio / quartet, and so it just has it written here. Semi-legendary 1 and 2. I mean, yeah, if we can make it out, we could read this ourselves, but who's a programmer here? Look at all this crap. See, here's the AAA span. This is past Salamence. Bungie Ross, F you. This is freaking future T-Tar. Unbelievable. So it's not just the ones that he listed. It would appear all of them, all of the Paradox Pokemon are there, but only these ones in specific had like a code name change. But there's more. And so there's the 3rd Ruinous Pokemon Tablets, the 4th Magatama. What is that, Mirror? Charcadet. Wait, Charcadet 3rd. Charcadet 3rd stage. Wait, so Charcadet was supposed to evolve? This is crazy. Wait a sec. So they're saying, Beats, is this leaker reliable or just a troll? Listen, it would appear he's reliable. I gotta do more testing, but it would appear he's reliable. If anyone has any proof he's not, hit me with it immediately. It looks like he was breaking down what this Terra leaker posted just now when he came back on January 15. So wait, what was I gonna look up Charcadet? This is crazy. So maybe this is crazy, dude. Think of like Annihilate. So the story of a monkey, it just gets strong and then it goes into this like
Charcadet more like Charka to a sorry. $2.
See, Indian reader doesn't do it that well. Wait, and do what? Wait, I mean, she doesn't say it that well. It would have been a similar story, maybe. So it would have been Charcadet evolves maybe at like level 30 into Armarouge. Then Armarouge has an evolutionary condition where it has an evil evolution that evolves it further into Ceruledge. Maybe that's what was originally planned. And then they're like, forget it. And so they replaced it and made it a split evolution. And then they probably gave more defining features to both of them, like cannons on this, sword on this. But it was probably all merged together then. That's kind of crazy. I like 3-stage Pokemon so much. And if you look at Charcadet and imagine what I just said, it kind of gives you that like Gardevoir feel. Or I guess the Tinkaton feel. It would have been like another Tinkaton in the region. It would have given that vibe. But anyhow, we can keep going. So what else? Hill Magikarp. There's proof. There's the proof. It was... Wow. Who said it? It must have been Riddler Koo who said one of the regional fakes was supposed to be Magikarp. Here in the Scarlet and Violet source code is proof of this. It was a Magikarp with a hail theme. What the hell? That turned into the Wood Ear Tentacruel, which is Toadscroll and Scroll. What is a hail Magikarp and Gyarados? And why would I appreciate it so much more than this pantsless Toadscroll running around? Yo, but you know, Gyarados is like, why didn't you get a notification? Boys, they're shooting me. Ever since I changed the icon. Yes, it would have been snake-like. It could, you know what I'm thinking? It could have been a very fake-looking dragon. Like, you know, during festivals, people will gather and hold up parts of a dragon. It could be a very fake looking Gyarados like that. I don't know if that means it's made up of many like a wishy-washy, but I imagine something like that would look very intimidating, like a dragon is flying, as it's really this different creature faking it. Which goes with the theme of regional fakes, right? Except this one is intentionally trying to fake it. But that's what comes to mind when I think of Hail Magikarp and Gyarados. Like if you're trying to climb up a mountain, you would see these terrifying imitation Gyaradoses. Frick. Wow. I guess Gyarados is far too good to use right now. That's not true. They used so many of the good Pokemon for like Mega Evolutions. They probably should have done this. They probably should have done this so you have a very strong image of regional fakes looking back. We don't have a good candidate that's like the representative, you know? We have Wugtrio. He's really cool, I guess. We have Toadscroll, and then we have Poltergeist, who's like... Who do we give the baton to? Gyarados would have held the baton. I don't know what the equivalent in Alola is. Maybe like just like Ninetales. Just because that trailer represented something pretty pivotal. We already knew about Convergent Magikarp, but Future Bouffalant being cut is totally new. Yo, I don't even care about Future Bouffalant as much as this. But it is kind of interesting if you notice Future Bouffalant is another Unova Pokemon. Aren't the Paradox Pokemon oddly themed? Like, let's see. We have Johto, Kanto, Unova, another Unova. Okay, it's not too many Unovas. Hydreigon, but for the limited amount of Paradoxes there were, we got like 2 Unovas. So they do stand out. So to see Bouffalant shows more focus on Unova. It could be because when they're planning all this, they already know they're not getting black and white remakes, so we can give them some Unova teasers. We can give them Blueberry and all. So that's probably what was on their mind. That's crazy, though. Yeah, what typing would... Yeah, that's a freaking crazy question. Sparking Zero DLC trailer dropped. Really? Oh, I want to see that. 70... Is that older than me? How many years is 74 months? You have the Angel. That's the freaking highest tier. I don't even... That's 60 months. I don't even know how you got to 74. Yun Yize. I think... Okay, so when it comes to the regional fakes, maybe we can try to figure out a pattern here to figure out what this Gyarados' typing would have been. But Hail immediately means grass or ground. Not means, but like speaks that. Regional fake. Did it say regional homes? Is anyone disappointed by the regional fakes? See, this is not wrong. Wait, their reasoning is wrong though. They're saying they're basically regional variants with the name pun slapped on them. We know Gamefreak's lazy, but I would say we're disappointed because I don't know, bro. They're so like secondary. Okay, which one of you did? You guys hear that? Wow, I mean, look at where our imagination went and all. Bro, what is he arresting someone right here? Is he arresting the leaker? Frick, what was that? You take your turn. Okay, so, ew, bro. I'm glad this never happened. Oh, that's so cool. No, I like it. I take it back. It's a freaking bird. It's a bird, boys. Why would that excite me? So what was I about to show? Okay, I was about to go into regional fakes. There's potentially a name for them. It's like biologically unrelated Pokemon. There might actually be an official... It's not an official name, but something they've used to categorize them. I think Bulbapedia has it listed. Bulbapedia regional fakes. Ecologically similar Pokemon. Why, Gamefreak? Why couldn't you just come up with a goofy name? like Super Saiyan Blue, something so stupid that you can't even hate on it yet. It skips right past that. It's called like imitation Pokemon, something. Like, bro, you left us with ecologically similar, bro. And this is the this is the headliner. But anyhow, okay. So to compare them, wow, we actually have a whole 6. Can I close this? To compare them, we have water poison turning into grass ground. The comparison people find with these is that the regional fake is beaten by the original. So water beats ground, poison beats grass. Is it a coincidence? Let's scroll down. On this one, Wiglet beats Diglett, water beats ground. Wait a sec. Wait, the frick? Boys, they beat each other. The ground beats... Did I read this? Wait a sec. The ground... I'm stupid. The ground beats the poison. The grass... It's the other way around. The imitations beat the originals. Look at how Bulbapedia wrote it. Newer Pokemon and original counterpart. So in the same way, water beats ground. I don't think it continued to the same...
Unova remakes good if not messed up like BTSP.
Well, Unova remakes will be like 2028. So it's going to be a whole different era. We're going to be deep into the Switch 2. I don't think it's possible. If it's BDSP like remakes, I think the lowest it will come to is just looking like Let's Go again. I don't think they can actually achieve that chibi crap to success. But anyhow, Poltergeist Ghost does beat Ghost, so if you want to be a lawyer, it still works to the end. The imitations beat the originals. So that leaves us with our boy here, who's actually one of the gods of Pokemon. They just nerfed him. Well, they actually made him a god after, so they retconned it, and then they nerfed him. And then, who knows if it's even right. But anyhow, Gyarados is water flying. They could do something sneaky here, the same way they pulled something with Sinistcha, flipping it around, and taking some notes from Iron Valiant and Salamence, where this regional fake, for some reason, is like more comparable to the Mega. They could do something like that. So it's really this typing, if it's not a coincidence, that it would beat. But water is still in both of them. So if I'm thinking the code name is a Hail, Magikarp, and Gyarados, grass is like exactly it, but wait, grass would make sense because that's exactly why they replaced it with another grass. So it was a grass Magikarp or a grass something Magikarp. What do y'all think? Grass Rock. Wow. Grass Rock is crazy. So it beats the water flying. I like that. This guy's cooking meth. Okay. I mean, I am, but I'm not. Yo, what if I say that and then like... Well, if you say that Hail Gyarados could be like a Chinese prey dragon, it would be ground flying would be cool even. But, okay, but using this random coincidence crap, that means the original beats the fake. But ground flying is such a cool typing, it would be cool if, because they're parading it above the ground, even though it's a fake, that counts as being flying. They're gonna break the pattern, by the way. They're not gonna keep up this whole system where the imitations are beating the originals. Did you see my recipe tweet? So, boys, listen. I was looking to buy the cake supplies, but I'm so clueless. I have to buy baking soda powder, and then I didn't look at the rest of this. But then that's a lot of stuff so far. Grass ice since hail. Well, where does hail really come in, though? But maybe you mean like if it's a mountain, like a cold mountain. What's going on over here? Ghost ground. I think water rock is a really good guess. I mean, ground What the frick was our guess? I already lost it. Grass rock. Grass rock is a really good guess. It's wow. And grass rock is a good type combination. I mean, can I even think of any grass rocks? There's at least one. Yeah, Cradilly. That's the only one I know. What the heck? Where's Cradilly? Cyan Blade? What the frick? Don't show them that, boys. Ogerpon, Grass Ground. Ogerpon, so it's just, okay, so it's extremely Laleep. Yeah, like, what the frick? I trusted you. Grass Rock is surprisingly decent typing. No, it's a great typing. I guess it's an offensive typing. So, like, the two resistances don't really help each other out. So it's like neutral to ice, flying, bug, and then it's even weak to rock. It's neutral to fire and all. So it like resists nothing, but it has good, it's two good offensive typing. So, wow, a Grass Rock Gyarados. Listen, we can get it later. The other option could be an electric type, but Hail cannot be electric. What else beats water? It's just grass and electric. And then freeze crap. Where the leaks at, bro? Freaking watch the stream. Maybe don't take this too seriously, but in the league club, what the frick, bro? League club room, Rika and Poppy are referred to as Champ Ground and Champ Steel. Wow, so they had a more fruitful image in their head originally when they were planning the Pokemon League. It would seem like they intended for there to be two champions in the Elite Four. So Rika, who manages everything, you know, she's on the computer and all, and she's the first member, she would actually be a champion. And then, I don't know if it's all of them. And then maybe if you saved Poppy for last, you make her also a champ. And it would be cool if they made it a point to just say that champions are above Elite Four. And so what would happen is you would fight Champ Rika, Champ second member, Champ old dragon guy, then Champ Poppy. And then when you go to the final room balcony and you see top champion Gita, it blows the title to much higher levels, right? Now that all of that is stripped, top champion is kind of redundant, right? It's like, okay, she said they called her top champion like she'd have level 90 Pokemon. You're not allowed to fight her right now. You know, they have to save her for the DLC. But no, they made it so you have to beat not just any champion, but the top champion to become champion. So they messed up their vision, it would seem like. They wanted to make it so much more populous, like having all these champions. Maybe even like the 8th Elite Four member, 8th gym leader would have been like a champion. They probably would have wanted to throw that out more. But this is stuff in the, even though I'm saying it, this is stuff in the league club room. So this is when they're working on the Indigo Disc. It's remnants from that time period. Champ Top. King Hono. So these are the 4 Elite Four members. BB Teacher Top. Sister? That's not how you... That's Carmine and Kieran. I thought it's a lunatic. Teacher Head? Okay, here we go. Champ G-Man and Champ Hagane. That's kind of cool, dude. Or, scrap everything I said, you find out only in the Indigo Disc that they're champions. But what's the point of that, bro? What's the point of that? They needed to use the whole champion system they built up better. Like in our original playthrough of it. Okay, so we scroll down, there's more. Yeah, what is their placement? Their placement. Oh, shoot. So where's Hassel? Is Hassel? Nah. Hassel has to be invitable. Am I missing it? Oh, he's right there. Okay. I was gonna say, like, imagine they only put those two. Because Hassel tells you about Drayden's and the grandpa and all, right? Okay. The expert AI is very elaborate. One example has logic that knows that the 5 specific Pokemon, okay, these are going to be Cantonian, maybe related things, but Pikachu, Marowak, Chansey, Porygon 2, and Dusclops, depend on their held item and it should be removed. Oh, so the AI was
Brother
given
Munching
priority
oranges
to
and chat,
use
be
knockoff
careful.
on these Pokemon. That's kind of cool. And probably for a battle facility. Is there a battle facility in Scarlet and Violet? Or maybe just the AI of all the coaches in Blueberry. Munching Orange and Chai, be careful. Bro, he better be careful. Smack his face. He did not hear that. Ignore it, sad. Ignore it, sad. I read it. All right, Munchin. Munchin, why are you here? Why are you in my block? Unova remakes good if not messed up like BDSP. Why are you in my block, bro? Why are you in the 51st state? Wait, he's not even here. Mo left? Boys. He's not even it's not even real. Viewers are reacting to the streamer's Pokemon playthrough. That's a lie. It's time for the title defense Alola style, bro. So, do I get to sit down and defend my title while you punch? What type of boxing match would that be if one person was sitting down? So this is me. I will be sitting like this and Munching can be the goofy man boxing, trying to throw punches at me. This is me. Come to T-Dot. The sofa, there's room for you on the sofa. Punching Orange. Takes Punch Orange. Okay, but continuing. There's also lists of mons vulnerable to Encore and so on. So they try to find traps. Dude, the fact that they would try to work on the AI like this, I don't know who's behind it. I don't know if like they're just trying to do something bare bones or if someone in the Gamefreak space behind this was interested in trying to make a difficult AI. In other words, give this dude or this, okay, or girl, okay, I'm just saying, it's neutral. Give this group of people or this dude a battle facility to work with. They would love it. They would love to come up with all kinds of traps for players. They would come up with all kinds of new mechanics, you know? The battle pike, they would do that times 10. Traps, you step on them, it poisons your team, you have to make it to the end. You can't heal. Maybe throw some cameos, maybe some lore drops in the battle facility. Get people speculating for months. If you did that, it would have people speculating. You would have you would give people, you have the room to give people enough to speculate for the whole blank year if you did it right. But that's a lot to ask, right? A whole battle facility. They didn't even really plan something like that. Okay, so scrolling down, I think this may have been discovered before, but the battle logic doesn't seem to list DLC Pokemon such as Walking Wake, Great Neck as Paradox Pokemon. Yeah, that's an accident. That's an accident. I think we knew this early. So usually they're not supposed to, usually there's like a flag given to Paradox Pokemon so that you can't remove their booster energy. And this flag, it would seem like isn't given to Walking Wake or I guess any of the legendary paradoxes, the Unova Johto ones. So they are paradoxes, but I guess they have a bug on them. They don't have that same immunity. I wonder what people said to this. Which gen didn't have a leak at this point? We literally have a leak of everything except for red and blue source code. How has this happened? Somehow, red and blue is the only thing defended. Gita gave me Great Neck. Gita's defeat was pathetic. Yeah, you could tell. You could tell something was taken out. But the part with Nimona must have been planned, you know, that part hit properly. You know, her waiting for you and being the actual champion. But everything, something before that was taken out. You can feel it. Gita lost in the anime too. I'm not caught up on Horizons. Liko beat her. Liko's yeah, bro. When are you gonna hire me, Pokemon? Just okay, hire me in the anime. I'll help the anime then. Hire me in the hype season. Hire me in the anime, or hire me at Gamefreak. I'll introduce a crazy legendary trio. I'll give them the craziest lore. Is Legend Z an actual future game? It would appear it's in the past. I don't think we technically have any confirmation. Gita sucks so bad, season 1 Ash can beat her. Well, season 1 Ash is pretty strong, right? I think Ash before his first reset would be strong. The Ash that beat the Orange Islands. I think it'd be fun to compare that, because then they started, resetting him. ZA is a sequelish game to X. Okay, so now here's my next question, which is, I'm hearing ZA stuff. I don't know where it's coming from. So I'm assuming, is it coming from him? Are you doing this? I've been hearing something about Legend ZA. And I'm unsure exactly. I guess we could try to check Central. But my honor. I need ZA leaks. No. Listen, we have 1 month to go. And then we have a legal hype season. They can't screw it up now. Now this is the requirement. To pass with a D+, they have to put out, something on February 27, and then at least one trailer before its release. It's the bare minimum. We're at least finally at the point where we're gonna get that. Hey, stop that. Okay, so I'm gonna... Oh, it's right here. I suppose let's see Central. Oh, where is he? Why does it do that? The Twitter knows I'm searching for him. Why is it showing me Justice Center for Constitution? Justice Center for Constipation? What the heck could that be? What a week, boys. On behalf of how cool I am. What a week. It's insane. It's like, I don't even know what to do about our trio. Our new Legend ZA starters. Oh, that's what I heard. Apparently, one last thing to cover in this is that there's something Legend ZA starter related talked about here. I don't know if it's the specifics. It's some hint. So we're going to see that right now. But I don't know who's the dorkiest. I guess the Terra Leaker would be in first place, just because he's the fan favorite now. But it's the Terra Leaker, Centro, and Ku. They're all a type triangle. Does he ever say baguette? Ku keeps insisting something related to Pokemon Legends are Legends ZA related this month, next week. Yeah, when it's that... Bro, when it's that broad, what does it even mean? And how can it be wrong? Because he's winking. His winking can mean only that now that Switch 2 is revealed, nothing is holding back Ikaku news. He can just come back. If nothing gets revealed for a whole 5 weeks, he can come back and say the wink is because the Switch 2 was the last thing holding them back. So I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why he's doing this when people are waiting to see proof of his credibility. So he's doing this in the face of it, which means either he doesn't care, which would be, I guess, good on him for not caring, or 2, he's stupid. And who on social media doesn't care? What are you on social media for then? Okay, in December 2021, so this is him following the Blue Sky account covering the Blue Sky account I just talked about. And then we have until January 15. Something in January 15 apparently has this.
We love you TTAR. Forget about Ku ஒளிவட்டத்துடன்
Love you to
சிரித்த
forget about
முகம்.
Ku. Well, we have to. Oh, here we go. This is it. This is. Wait. Oh my god. And okay. And then there's this. So this is what we briefly saw. This is crazy. So this is what the Terra Leaker did, and this is what we just saw now. He stripped useful info about future events and updates. So this protects. So what he put is not the whole story technically. Just in case he sees the potential future things Pokemon had planned, just scheduled while they're really focused on developing the new game. And so he just didn't decide to put those in. Whether it includes the mythical or not, if it's even a thing, we don't know. But this is the other side to that, right? It did come from the Terra Leaker, it would seem. You really have to go on their Discord and all, but... And then this is also what he says. That Gen 10 is separately being developed for the original Switch. But then they're developing a Super Gaia, as the code name, for the Switch 2. Which could be as little as the exact same game, just with its graphics unleashed. But could be cooler and have some additions and be like a deluxe edition. And then the same for Legends ZA. Which honestly, Legends ZA makes sense. This is the main one right now. So in a month and a half, I mean, I said this in the video I made, but you're gonna see Legends ZA fully associated with the Switch 2 as well at the end of the trailer. But I really hope they do it. Nintendo, it would seem like is winning with their idea with the Nintendo Switch 2 in name and in everything. If they do this, this is the final piece to make infinite money. They need to do deluxe editions for the Switch 2. Okay, here it is. Gamefreak hacker hints at a new starter trio for Legends ZA. So I didn't actually read this properly or at all. Only something like it's random. That's what I got from it. So I'll read it properly now. We will say, okay, we will not say, what the frick's wrong with the picture? We will say just one thing. We said we were not leaking any information regarding the upcoming games. I'm believing him more and more, especially if he really did strip and post this Scarlet and Violet thing. It makes me think, okay, he maybe really is telling the truth about not only having ZA, but maybe having played some beta copy for real. Do you think we would have released Mega Turtle if there were really that much information here? I haven't. What the? Wait, why would he speak like this? So he's responding to someone who said, "Are you sure that GFO, Gamefreak, didn't just decide to put the same Pokédex code as X and Y, rename it to Kaku?" Okay, so I see what they're talking about. They're talking about apparently the Pokédex in Legends EA starts with Chespin and ends with Volcanion. Like maybe to pay homage to the Kalos original decks. That's what he's talking about. So did they just rename something they copy and pasted from X and Y and it's not the actual Pokédex? That's what he's asked. That's what someone's asking and he's replying to. But his response is kind of confusing. It's like all three leakers have this in common. We will just say one thing and say it as complicated as possible. We said we were not leaking any information regarding the upcoming games. Do you think we would have released Mega Turtle if there were really that much information here? What the frick? Just ignore him. Also, the Pokemon Legends game series started with a random set of old starters. Why would they do something else in the upcoming game and decide to strangely just reuse a past game starter set? Now I see what he's talking about. I think he's talking about the coup. Because Coup put up that teaser and was seemingly implying that the starters of Legends ZA are actually freaking Chespin, Fennekin, and Froakie again. So, I mean, if I can pull it up. if this is what he's responding to, he's saying, why would Legends EA just reuse the starter set from X and Y? Now, when I hear the Pokedex might just be Fennec, Chespin to Volcanion, well, it kind of sounds like they're the only starters in the game then. But of course, you can have Pokemon outside the decks, especially post whatever the deck set crap was. But it would seem like he's attacking what Koo said here. I don't even know if I can really find Koo's. Great, good job, Koo. I don't know if I can find Koo's teaser here. It's pretty much the one where you see the Froakie disguised as well. So look, mega confirmed, laughing face. What is he doing? And just annihilate. Even if this was true, he's done this in the most stupidest way possible. This is unlike how he used to riddle things anyway. So the video I made, even attempting to commend him, he's freaking stepping on what I commended him about too. Let's see. So it's this right here. Say hi to Ikaku ... And we have Chespin, we have Fennekin, and we have Froakie here. And then he says, don't worry, something is different. Merch on sale, whatever. What people took this as, and Koo never corrected anyone when they took this idea and ran with it, was that he was saying these were the starters again, but that there's something different. So the two ideas would be that it's the same thing where there's a Kalosian final or a straight up new final. So which would mean Kalosian. Well, see, a Kalosian is, you can't say Kalosian. It would be some kind of variant final or a new species final. So we'll just say Kalosian, even though it doesn't make sense. Kalosian Delphox, or it's not, it's called like Delfrizzle, you know? But it evolves from whatever the second form is. And that would be the only way in my head it would make sense that they would reuse the exact same starters, unless they just deciding to be kind of boring, you know? So that's where that was. But then now this man is coming out and saying it differently. I think, did I freaking exit it? It's right here. Legends game series started with a random old set of starters. So Legends Arceus, they took a randomized set of starters, right? Johto with the Diddler. Why do I have to say it like that? Typhlosion, Samurott, and the other one. So why, when they're continuing the Pokemon Legends game series, he's saying, having seen ZA stuff, why would they just reuse a past game starter set? We are safe from making mistakes, that's true, but here it wouldn't have really a lot of info more than actual bits of placeholder that aren't true anyway. That's interesting. See, he's doing something. The other thing I was commending Koo for, which is trying to be transparent, if possible. If I read what he said here right, he's saying he has such an early beta copy of ZA that it's filled with placeholders and could be ultimately untrue, maybe some of the stuff. So that's nice that he's saying that, right? He's not trying to look like the know-it-all, which is what all the other leakers have slowly devolved into. Well, it's really just cool. So, boys, how would you take that? It would sound like he's saying we're getting from 3 different regions again, a set of starters. Now, would Ancient Kalos have a different name? Maybe Lumiosian Delphox. No. It doesn't roll off. What is it called in Japanese? Someone catching me up, bro, you gotta go through the whole stream again. Maybe a new evolution for Chespin and 2 different starters. Okay, I mean, if they really want, like, let's use for, like, the Kalos starters, if they really want to throw a small curveball, maybe one of them can stay. the hell is this? It is hometown to Ninja Senpai and his two brothers. Can you show me the starters? Okay, F you. So, I don't know who the least popular is, but I would say if they agree, if Game Freak agrees that Delphox, they kind of messed it up, you know, with it, whether it's its signature move or whatever, the way they animated it, if they want to correct it, they could, for example, keep Fennekin as one of the starters, and that has a different Delphox, you know? I think Delphox would be the one they would keep in that case. Unless they really want to use Froaky's immense hype and use this, so it's a different Greninja. Damn, that's actually that's quite attractive. I mean, for their sales, right? Greninja's such a popular Pokemon, but I guess for that, if it was a variant of Greninja, not like a Politoed split, if right, like the split I was talking about, because Greninja's name is powerful, you would just keep it as Lumiosian Greninja or whatever. But I guess those are the two I would put at the highest, if possible, for something like that to happen. So either we get the hype of Greninja or the Henri of Delphox. Yo, what game said the Oracle of Delphox? Man, that came out of nowhere. Chespin is my boy. What is happening in the future? A samurai. Oh my god. Imagine a Greninja where you see how it has this tongue? Rather than it being a scarf, it's now freaking this. It's the samurai's sheathed blade. So it's like this thing has the tongue behind it. It fights with the sword and has a blade behind it. And this would also fit with kind of like a more olden time, right? And maybe they can joke, and instead of doing the same thing with Legends Arceus, where they just said these are evolutions near Mount Coronet, like that's the story. Apparently, if you evolve it near the mystical Mount Coronet energy 200 years ago, that's what causes Hisuian Typhlosion and crap. So if they don't want to repeat that, they could give them lore where the three starters are actually brought here from different regions. So maybe it's a Greninja that was brought. All they'll say is a Greninja, a Froakie from a faraway region, but we would understand it's from a Japanese region, and it would evolve to have a Japanese like samurai Greninja fighting with the blade, because it already has that pose where it's like ready to be slicing around. Wow, that would make it. Dude, that's gonna like start overtaking Charizard. They're using like all their good ideas on Greninja if they do that. I thought Legends Arceus was a few years after X and Y. No one knows. The only hint we have about its time period was Ku said it was not in the ancient past, right? So Central initially reported that saying it's not in the past, but not in the ancient past is really the purpose of that was to get rid of the 3,000 years ago idea that we would actually be in the AZ war. The two leading ideas, I don't know how this one came to be, but the first one is that it's a few years after X and Y somehow, and the second idea is that it's, you know, I thought the leaker said it was 150 years ago. I don't remember this. It'd be great if they said that. I don't think they said this. They said this for Legends Arceus. Like, we just saw it in their confidential Game Freak stuff. But the leaker here did say he doesn't want to say anything about ZA, right? So it would make sense if he didn't say that. He could have, though. I almost want to say it doesn't line up with the Mega Zygarde, Mega Zorora, and the island hopping. Those are the big three leaks, right? Mega Zorora, Mega Zygarde island hopping. I almost want to believe, if I want to believe this leaker is trying to do some good, that he didn't mean for those to be found. Because, and especially if you take those off, the leaks are kind of fine then. It's only when we start to get like the future spoilers that it kind of screwed. It kind of desensitized us, you know? We know too much, but it's way too far in the future. Is he already done with the rejuvenation? Well, yeah, I beat it. Do you think Zay is open world like Scarlet and Violet? I would imagine. I would imagine they'd make it open world. But man, like, if the levels don't scale, I'd rather them not make it open world then at that point. Because while it was like, trust me, it was so fun to do any gym I wanted. But I think the psychic gym early, and then I was just beating the rest of the game fast. So you need to make the levels scale. I'm talking about Scarlet and Violet. You need to make the levels scale, or it's gonna be so weird, you know? Wasn't Stunfisk already confirmed? So it was confirmed, but oh yeah. So I was gonna say it was confirmed, but I don't know if it was a joke, right? Like, oh, Stunfisk is confirmed. It was meant to be like giving information that no one cares about. But yeah, it doesn't have to be just Pokemon in the Kalos decks that are ultimately in the game. And besides, I mean, they're surely gonna give us another Enamorus, right? I'm not saying a force of nature, but like some kind of addition to an old legendary group. And so that's gonna be outside of that range too, right? I guess maybe for some kind of nostalgia purpose, the main decks of the game is just gonna be that. Imagine a fourth bird, exactly, 100%, dude. That would be so cool. And then in English, it would have Quattro at the end. They just have to come up with a good pun because Quattro kind of takes up the whole name. So it has to be what typing? I guess a grass bird, Quattro. Okay, what's a name? What's a name you could add to Quattro? Something wood or grass related that you could add to Quattro. So we have like Arctic and 1, Zapping and Dos. We have Molten and 3. So I'm saying, let's get a grass flying type. Dude, a grass flying Canto bird. I don't know, that just feels so cool to me. That feels so cool to like the Gen 1er in me. What's a word? See how big this is? Oh, sorry, Trez. This word is too big. So what's a word that you could like pun and like half of this works for the grass wood part? Quat. Squat. Squash. Squatro. A squash. What's wrong, bro? I have no idea. Stop showing them stuff. Quite so That's insane, boys. How in the frick did you immediately save poverty, hunger? Yo, now the thing is, Quetzal, what is it even called? Quetzalcoax. I don't know how to say it. Quetzalcoax. That is, okay. No, we can figure out how to say it. We could just look it up. I just start squeaking like a duck when I try to say it. Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl. If you did this, you have to make it the leader of the birds. You have to drop some because this is not a normal bird. You have to drop some, but then why would it be called 4? Frick. Okay, I was gonna say make it the leader and say Lugia is like more of a new leader, and this is the original one that was actually there with them at the start. But just do it differently. Make it so this is like the Broly of the legendary birds. It's the overpowered fourth one, and it does not get along with the others. And it's much stronger than the others. Maybe even like a 660 BST. You know? And it's a Quetzalcoatl. Dude, Quetzalcoatl is in. It's insane. How to pronounce Quetzalcoatl? Okay, when are you gonna tell me? Please tell me.
The sacrifice. Lord Quetzalcoatl.
Lord Quetzalcoatl. Okay, well, the name no longer works. It no longer sounds like Quattro. So what the frick was my rant for? But you could no, it doesn't have to sound like it, right? Like there's no such thing as a Moltres, right? But it flows well. Quetzal, Quattro flows. But also, boys, Quetzal, Quattro is so long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That might be too long. What's the longest name we know? I mean, they could increase the limit. Let's be real. Darmanitan. Okay, Darmanitan. Eternatus. No? So, Darmanitan's the longest name I know so far. Necrozma. That crap is short. What's longer than Darmanitan? Bastiodon. Rampardos. Oh, shoot. Rampardos is the same length. Rampardos. So it's 2 letters above. Well, let's look it up. Longest Pokemon name. Fletchinder? Come on. You would do that to me? Oh my god, even Fletchinder is one under Quetzalcoatl. But here's what they just changed the spelling. Or they could do, you know, they F up the spelling, right? So it doesn't start with the Q. And that way you don't have to add the U and all, right? But, or Quetzalcoatl or something. But you can make it fit. That would be that would be my favorite Enamorus for ZA. So we had Enamorus to complete the Ruinous. I mean, you know, the forces. And you just and you connect Kalos to the birds even further. So then
just found an interesting image while digging through comments. I am genuinely
Yeah,
not
tweet it to
sure
me.
if it is legit or not.
tweet it to me. So think Kalos. What did Kalos do? For how plain the post game was, they were Kanto centered. They put Mewtwo and they put the birds. The birds are really associated with Kalos. So if you bring it, the framework is already there to bring full circle. You make the 4th bird, you pun Quattro, and it's already there. It's already there. Do it. Do it now. And then yeah, give it a Mega too. You don't even have to give Megas to Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres. You can give it just to this, or don't give it to this and give it to Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres, and say in their Mega forms, they're on equal footing with this. Just something like that, right? Isn't that a cool idea to consider this like the Broly of the birds? Oh, I'm fricked. You're right. They paired the birds with Galar. Erase everything. No one saved me from this hell early?
My dude, I am such a big fan. Your Extreme series is what got me into Pokemon YouTube.
Dude, I appreciate it.
You.
No, I appreciate... The gentle dude? That sounds like a lie. If a dude say... Well, I'm just saying, if someone says, I'm a nice guy. I'm an innocent man. Okay, I don't know why I'm even here. Mew 3. Man, Mew 3 is... Wait, why are we even talking about Mew 3? It's an image of me. No, it's not. Okay, let me go to Twitter. Wait, where even is my Twitter? Is it this? I'm surprised, dude. Future Bouffalant. Just wait a sec. Wait a sec. Bouffalant. Is it? Are they having fun or are they bored? You know. Let me show you. So of course you have Iron Thorns, right? Okay. See, this is Pooh. This is Pooh. This is not a future Pokemon. It looks the same, but you had the tier above like Iron Bundle. At least this thing had a cannon, right? That's different. That is very different to T-Tar. Yeah, I know we have the electric spikes. It doesn't hit you when you're looking at it as this does. And then there's the ultimate tier, which is Miraidon. Okay, of course they weren't going to do that for Bouffalant. I guess they would have. I guess that the exact amount to go for, well, is what they just did. They would have done this amount to Bouffalant. It would not have been a boring paradox. Actually, it would have been a properly customized paradox. And dude, that's cool because Bouffalant charges as well. I wonder if this exact concept was Bouffalant's. So it comes from a future where they built off that charging nature by giving it an ultimate way to thrust forward and charge with this rollout mechanic. Also hard to tell though because rollout is freaking Donphan's thing, right? It's like Donphan invented that. You know what? I don't think it would have rolled. I want to say that's Donphan's. So what would have Bouffalant done?
Tweet sent.
Tweet sent. Currently watching stream. Birds are... This tweet? Birds already got treatment. It ain't a fourth bird. Yeah, this is a good point. We got the megas for the laddies. They have megas, yeah. And then we have the Reggies revisited. And then we have the Forces of Nature revisited. We have the Unova Swords of Justice covered and the Johto Beast covered. There's very little. Mewtwo's covered. It got a mega. Boys. Diancie doesn't really count to say it got a mega, but no, that doesn't count. Wait, what's the tweet I'm supposed to look at? Wait, was it that? Yeah, the Lake Spirits. Now here, the Lake Spirits and there's one more. Oh, I guess Laddies was what I was thinking. It's the Lake Spirits is going to be a huge one because we know. You know what? The reason they haven't done anything with the Lake Spirits could be because deep down they like their lore. That the Lake Spirits are the ones that helped form the universe, right? So making something to go with the Lake Spirits, whether that's regional, a set of regional fakes. What does that mean? Like maybe mockeries that try to trick. Maybe do you see how the Lake Spirits try to protect and make sure the gods stay away? Maybe there's a fake lake trio that's inciting it, that's trying to get people to assemble the red chain and, you know, like bring out one like the Algonpalkia. And so you create a regional fake that's actually not only, but that's actually related to them in a way. So you could do regional fake, or it could just be weird ass earth plants that look like them, right? You can do regional variants. You could do megas. That's really all of them. What's wrong with me? That's really all of them, really. And or a form change, right? And so example is like Hoopa or Shaman. So mega, because if we want to say they hold, even though they're like they're such similar looking Pokemon to each other, like, you know, they can get boring quick. I don't want to be rude to them. I want to say they hold a special.
Maybe we should call them mock species. Viranda Siripadu.
Yeah, mock species or imitation Pokemon. There's great names for it. Ecologically similar. Yeah, I want to say maybe not megas because I want to say there's something divine they'd want to do with them. And so the ultimate would probably be a form change, where they have a form change. And I know they screwed up Dialga and Palkia kind of, because their BSTs don't change in their origin forms. They didn't need to make it fit with Giratina for no reason. They could have just retconned it. They could have made Origin Giratina's stats go up from 680, I think, is it? To at least 720, right? It doesn't have to be a full like primal reversion. But now that their origin forms don't increase their stats, when we give some kind of divine form, which would in my mind look like which would be like the Therian forms, right? Like the true appearance of them. What can you do to their base stats? If they'll have 600, and it might even be like 570 or something. Okay, 580. If they all have 580, and even Dialga and Palkia didn't get a buff, they're either gonna stay the same in an alternate form, which would be the exact same as Shaymin, or they would be able to get a buff that maybe can buff them up to 680. Because at the end of the day, not that their lore is still true to this day, you know, they're all like in similar tiers. I guess Dialga and Palkia are in a tier above them, though. Well, these guys technically were in the tier of Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza. And I think they came first. They came first. So if these guys could go up to 670, not that this is how it works behind the scenes, not that they're looking at these numbers and figuring it out like this, but just have fun. You could give it a true form where its stats go up to at least like 650 for all of them. And then we have to not really think too deeply about base stats, because, you know, Tropigus is only 700 and Eternatus is something stupid. Latios have some kind of themes. I don't remember too much. Something about the Soul Heart. What if they finally make the Plan 4th mythical? They really could. It's on them to do rebirths of their scrapped ideas. I'm not sure they've really done it yet. If they have, it's been by coincidence, it seems. Oh yeah, another Tapu. Perfect. And yeah, another Tapu. You can make the Tapus are perfectly expandable. You could, right now we have 4. You could either make the boss of them or the father of them. I think that's what they did in Extreme. Or you can make, just like Reggie's, infinitely expandable. Why introduce the Grand Tapu when you can just introduce like freaking 2 more? You know? Tapu Fun. Tapu Tong Tong. And all you have to do is use this as an opportunity to explain lore about Alola. When we read the Pokédex entries of these, and you can make them maybe counterparts depending on some path you pick, right? Since, you know, this, if we had 2 Enamours, we had 1 Enamours and this is 2. Maybe if you read their Pokédex entries, it can explain that. It could say something like, long ago, it had many friends, but they left to a faraway land, right? And if they say that, then what we would understand is that the Tapus are not originally from Alola, right? The Tapu's lore does go quite deep, though. Like, I mean, I think they were there, like, fighting Necrozma when they were trying to, like, strip it of its light and crap. So I think the Tapus do go back, like, at least a good 1,000 years for Alola. But, you know, if you say they left a long time ago, the other 4, and these are the last 2, that could still be 1,000 years ago that they left, right? And so they would be fairy types, and they would give you that same Kyogre and Groudon vibe when they come up with their own terrains. So if we have electric, psychic, grass, and water, right? These are the Tapus. Oh man, dude, wait, waste? You have some crazy candidates. You have fire fairy. These sound like the outcasted ones. What's a good counterpart for fire? Because we already have water and grass here, and electric. Maybe ice. And they're on like opposite sides of whatever. We're in Lumio, so I don't know about opposite sides. Dude. Oh, that's crazy. That's kind of too good though. They would have to do some of the ass ones, like Poison Fairy and Ground Fairy. You know, Fire and Ice is too good. Yeah, Normal Fairy. You know, yeah, like Normal and Dark Fairy. Gosh, those are exactly what they would do. What the heck? Oh, they do stuff right on the borderline of exciting. That's the whole sentence, you know? But I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. So if we had two more Tapus introduced and it was this, or I guess you could do Normal and Ghost. But okay, I guess you could do Ghost. Or I guess you could replace all this with just one Tapu that died a long time ago and is in Legend ZA. Tapu Diddy, Tapu Bum Bum. This is incredible. They would need terrain effects, yeah. So they would have their own terrain effects, well, I'm pretty sure we have more. I guess you could line it up with these terrains in Pokemon. I think we have more terrains than the Tapus, right? No, we have exactly 4. So they would either introduce more terrains or forget it. You don't have to tie them to terrains. Have them do something else. Have a Tapu summon a snowstorm. What were the 2 we had? If it was Fire and Ice, it could just be a Tapu that summons the drought, a Tapu that summons the hail. Who says it has to directly...
The Soul Dew was said to have the soul of a deceased Pokemon. They could bring that Pokemon back to life like their third sibling.
That is sick! So when they're Mega Evolving, they're like using parts of the their fallen third laddie. Because they're like twins. They're all like the same Pokemon, right? It's like Nidoking and Nidoqueen, Latios. So it's like they're all the same. And one of them fell. That's the Soul Heart, or the Soul Dew, sorry. And that's what you kind of turn into the Megastone, or in some way is the Megastone. That would be cool. So now, obviously, we already have a Mega for the laddies. It doesn't totally mean they can't immediately go back to the laddies, give them something, right? Latios. What would the third one be called? It could either be something completely different. It could be the youngest and have a much longer name with like 4 syllables. Or they could really try to hit people with nostalgia when a name like this pops up, you know? And it's like, and you could even, they're purple because they're fused. But I guess you could make the purple a different meaning if the third laddie is naturally like a magenta. So not like a purple like this, but like a smooth purple between. Those Megas look sick. And then what if you gave Latios, like with the U? What if you gave it 2 Megas where it gets these Mega Stones with the reverse, with the Soul Dew from a fallen Latias and then a fallen Latios. And so it has 2 Mega Evolutions.
Hawaii is of Austronesian origin, so in theory every Austronesian country can have tapas, like Philippines, Taiwan,
Oh, that's
Madagascar,
crazy.
Indonesia, etc.
Perfect. That's even better than what I said. I'm trying too hard to connect the regions. Yeah, you bring a whole new region. You just say there's Tapus native to here too. And you can still cross them over and say they've interacted in the past, but they're just full on. You could do something where they fully even look like Tapus, but they have a different starting name to show that what they're called confuses you a bit, but they're Tapus, right? So a whole nother four that you could tackle, and they'd be part fairy. But anyhow, yeah. So you could do something where the third laddie, you can make Soldus, like maybe you find a Soldu from a fallen Latius and Latios somewhere in ZA, and when Latios Mega evolves, it looks like these two, Mega X and Mega Y. It does like the reverse. So these guys Mega evolved using the third laddie and became more magenta. This thing, the third laddie Mega evolves using them and becomes more like them. But who knows? Who knows? Do they think at all? Or am I doing freaking too much? Probably. Green is a very cool color for it. But they use it for its shiny, so it kind of confuses you. If we wanted to go with some appropriate color, because this is not magenta and this is not cyan, but if you wanted to consider close enough, red blue goes with yellow. So it'd be a yellow laddie. Yellow laddie. What the Okay, boys, so I'm gonna continue streaming on T-Tar World. We can keep talking about this. Yeah, we could keep talking about Pokemon on T-Tar World, really. We don't gotta just jump straight into a game. So when the stream ends, you guys are gonna be redirected right there. But listen, we saw some leaks. We saw the Paradox Pokemon that could have been. We saw how early they had the Ruinous Pokemon planned. We saw regional fake Gyarados and Magikarp, which is crazy. And that Charcadet was going to have a third stage originally. A whole Annihilate system, probably. Listen, craziness. But yeah, thanks for coming out, y'all. Just stick around and you'll be redirected. I'll see y'all in the next one.